will be looking at navigating through the second phase of the year. Navigating through the second phase of the year. And I want to believe that you had some very clear vision that you want to pursue in 2025. And for you to pursue and achieve these visions, you set some specific goals, smart goals, goals that were achievable, goals that were specific, goals that were measurable, and all of that. Now, you have worked on these goals that will enable you to achieve a vision, because a vision that has not been broken down into achievable goals has no clear steps towards the achievement. It is when you now break your visions down to small goals you can achieve per time, you know you're on the path to achieving this great vision, fulfilling the great vision. And so I believe you've got visions for 2025, and I believe you've got goals you set, and I believe you've been working hard on these goals. You've been doing your best from January. Now June is coming to an end, or has come to an end. The question now is, the year is half. Where are you in the journey of your vision for 2025? How far have you gone with the goals you've set for 2025? You don't have to be judgmental on yourself. You don't have to be hard on yourself. As you listen to this teaching and the series of coaching and conversations we'll be having on this platform in few seasons, I want you to be kind to yourself. I want you to just be open-minded and be ready to learn new things and be ready to make adjustments where you need to. All right, so Bible has always been my source of inspiration, my greatest source of inspiration. So I lay foundation of everything we are teaching from the Word of God. And so this afternoon or this morning, depending on where you are joining us from, I will be looking at the book of Psalm chapter 139 and verse 3. Psalm 139 and verse 3, that's the foundation. I may not be quoting a lot of scriptures, but I will be applying scriptures along the line. All right, look at this. You chart the path ahead of me and tell me where to stop and rest. Every moment you know where I am. This is the psalmist talking to God. He said, you chart a path ahead. You don't allow me to get there before you created the path that I will follow. You chart a path. That means you drew a diagram of the future. You drew a diagram of where I am going, and this diagram specified where I am going ahead. And you tell me, by this diagram, I see where I need to sit down and rest. By this diagram, I see where I need to stand up and start going. And it says, every moment you know where I am. So now, we are talking about navigating through the second phase or the second half of 2025. God had made a chart. He charted the path ahead of you. He drew a clear diagram of where you are going. Navigation in our context is your ability to see the chart, the path that God charted ahead of you. To see the diagram that God had plotted for the remaining part of 2025. And to be able to design your routes to be in agreement with the chart the Lord drew towards the achievement of the vision that God gave to you. All right, so our focus is navigation. Believing that you already had a clear vision for the year, believing that you had already drawn goals you want to achieve towards the fulfillment of the vision that you have for the year. We are now looking at how far have you gone in navigating through the first half, and how are you going to navigate through the second half of the year to be able to achieve your goals and fulfill your vision. What then is navigation? Navigation simply is the art of planning and following a route or route. Of course, some people call it route, some call it route. Both pronunciations are correct. So navigation is the art of planning and following a route towards the achievement of your goal. The art, or even the art and the science of planning and following a route towards the achievement of your goal. Bearing in mind Psalm 139, God has already charted a path. So proper navigation enables you to walk the path that God has charted for you. Proper navigation enables you to follow the path that God has already charted for you. The path He has created for you. Destiny, the lines that God drew that you are going to follow to achieve the goals that will enable you to fulfill your vision. In other words, the ability to, the process of planning and following a route towards to enable you arrive your destination. When you look into the 31st of December, when you look up to 31st of December 2025, you see where you are supposed to be. Now you see where you are. How do you navigate between July and August and September and October and November? One thing is sure, by the mercies of God, you will see the end of 2025. It will not see your end, but will you see the fulfillment of your vision is determined by your ability to navigate through the right route and arrive to the desired destination. And so, understanding navigation is important. Navigation can also be defined as the process or activity of accurately ascertaining one's position and planning and following a route. The activity, the process of accurately ascertaining your position. So we are in 2025, June is ending, July is beginning. That's where the year is, but where are you? You're going to come to the point where you define where you are in the journey of achieving your visions. You are going to be able to ask yourself, where am I going? 31st December, where do I want to be? Where am I now? How am I going to get to where I am going? Are you seeing those questions? Where am I going? Where do I want to be in my spiritual life, in my career life, in my marital life, in my relationship life, in every area of my life? Where do I want to be by the end of 2025? Where am I now? So the activity and the process of accurately ascertaining your position, ascertaining, being very clear, being very certain about where you are. It's not an imagination. You consider your present reality, your current reality. Where am I in the journey of the pursuit of my goals and the fulfillment of my vision? Where do I want to be? Then the question of navigation asks, how do I get to where I need to be? Are we together? There are terrestrial and celestial navigation. There are practical, physical navigation. There are spiritual dimensions of navigation. Talking to some of us who are on this platform now as Christians and people of the Spirit and people of faith. So navigation is reading the map and following the map. You've got to read the map of the remaining 6 months of the year. I'm heading here. What paths are available for me? What path am I meant to follow? What route am I meant to follow? I was in Nigeria a few weeks ago, and a young man, a dear brother, my friend sent him to go and drop me off somewhere. And I asked him to follow the route that I used to know. And because he doesn't know the destination precisely where we are going, he followed me. I knew the destination and I knew the route that I used to follow. So as we followed the one that I advised him to follow, along the road, he remembered where we were going, and he kept saying, "Oh, we followed the wrong route. Oh, we followed the wrong route. Oh, we followed the wrong route." And as a result of that, we arrived late. By the way, roads have been readjusted and reconstructed and redesigned. I was thinking, based on what I used to know, maybe some 15 years ago, some 16, 17, 18, 19 years ago. I didn't know that, considering the current state, the current situation, the current position of things, that route is no longer the right and the fastest and the correct route to follow. In fact, along the line, I had to call another person that used to go through that route with me. He said, no. People no longer use that route. You don't have to follow that road. But we're already in the middle of the road, and we can't go back. We followed through. We didn't have any challenge, but we arrived late. So you are going to need, if you are going to arrive at the end of 2025, arrive early at the achievement of your goals and the fulfillment of your vision, you need to read the map of the year. You need to read the map of the circumstances surrounding your journey. You need to read your current reality, ascertain your current reality, ascertain your current situation, your current position. Where are you now? Where am I going? What options do I have? And which is the best route to arrive early and arrive well? Are we together? So as a Christian, if you're a Christian, navigation enables you to see the paths and patterns of God for your life. It enables you to see the paths and patterns. There are paths for fulfilling that vision. There are patterns for fulfilling that vision. And I said earlier, God gave Abraham and Sarah the vision that they are going to be the parents of many nations, father of many nations, mother of many nations. For that reason, they had to leave where their family were, where the family was staying. They left that place and they journeyed towards the place God was going to show them. Now, the primary promise is, I will give you a land and I will give you children as many as the stars of the sky. Several years passed. They were still strangers in this land. They were busy raising other people's children. 300 and something able-bodied men were born and raised in his house, but they didn't have a son. Yet they were meant to be father and mother of many nations. The vision was clear. There was no doubt about it. But the manifestation and the fulfillment of the vision was far-fetched. Are you here now? They came to a point they began to weigh their options. And Sarah said, why don't we try Hagar? And Abraham said, oh, that sounds like a good idea. We have a vision of becoming the parents of the universe, the father of many nations, the mother of many nations. From Abraham to Abraham, confirming that we believe what the Lord said to us. But now we can't make ourselves we are doing everything to become pregnant. We are even helping the sons and daughters of other children, of other people in our house. We've been very wonderful people. But the core, the recesses, the heart of this vision, having a son, having our own biological descendants who are going to now multiply into the fulfillment of the vision that God showed us, it's not forthcoming. Even the land the Lord said He will give to us, we are still wandering from one place to another in tents. We don't have stability. We don't have a place to settle. What do? That's the place of navigation. The vision is clear. Goals have been set. But how are we going to ensure following the right route to achieve this dream? She says, let's try this route. Haggai. They tried Haggai. But few years later, when God comes back, he says, I am not talking about... In fact, he first tried Eliezer of Damascus. So you're going to be the heir of my family. It's obvious that's what God is talking about. Father of nations. So nations, we may not necessarily have our own children. God comes and says, Eliezer will not be your heir. Say, all right, let's try Haggai. And Haggai brought Ishmael. God comes and says, I'm talking about the child that will come from the womb of Sarah. That one will be your heir. So there was a vision. It was clearly communicated. Abraham told his wife what God told him. They had set goals. That's why they left from where they are. They came to where they were. They came to where they are now. They are taking steps of faith. They have changed their names according to their belief. But the children that will fulfill the promise, who will inherit the land and who will become father of nations, are not forthcoming. Where are you now in 25 journey? Are you like Abraham? You have taken up, but you've not arrived. You've got options. You've got decisions that you must make to be able to achieve the vision that God inspired you with at the beginning of the year. To be able to fulfill, to achieve the goals and fulfill the vision. You are going to be able to navigate the paths. You are going to be able to see the paths and patterns of God for you. Hear me as I close this session. Listen. Haggai can never bring forth Isaac. Haggai can never bring forth Isaac. Ishmael can never replace Isaac. That is where navigation is important. A wrong path can never lead you to the right destination. That's why you need to ascertain what's the right route. Listen, they say the end justifies the means. It's not always the case. Sometimes when you follow the wrong route, when you don't do proper navigation, you might achieve an end that will mean the end of your peace. When you don't do proper navigation, you might achieve an end that will mean the end of your joy, the end of your peace. When you don't understand this, if you see Sarah, ask her. So, in the course of this conversation and masterclass and teachings and training and workshop, we're going to be looking at the processes of effective navigation that will bring you to where you need to be. Stay tuned. God bless you.